guys, welcome back to Monster and
Got
Coffee,
I
which
got
is
a
us.
monster with coffee.
Wait, do you really? Nice. River has a ghost mug.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's quite nice. Hello, Liz. How are you?
Oh, I'm brilliant. Cheers.
Are you ready to talk about your special
Are
interests?
you ready? Corn.
I like how you go into it and then you're just corn.
Yeah, but
Oh, man.
otherwise people won't know the reference.
Yeah, I just love you so much. You just make me happy.
Today we are doing part 2 of talking about our special interests. And today it's my turn. I'm gonna talk about drumroll pirates. Probably everyone has already guessed that pirates is my favorite.
I know.
It's my special interest.
I know. I
And
was about to say, like, who thinks?
what? What you gonna say?
I think that words are just hard for me right now. Let's talk about pirates.
Alright,
Woo
alright,
woo.
alright. Yeah, I really love pirates and I really love talking about it. Or no, I don't know if I love talking about it because I always get scared that I get my facts wrong. Because
I
I love
understand.
writing on it and then I'm just like, oh shit, did I remember this right or not? And yeah, it's an intense, how do you say that? Stressful moments to share your special interests.
Oh, I understand. Could you tell us when your spin started? Like when your special interest started?
So that was hard to pinpoint back because like my whole teenage years is mush. And but I think it started when I watched Pirates of Caribbean.
Oh, yeah.
Very ironic because that's so many people. Anyway, yeah, so
You're like, everybody loved pirates back then, but
I
I.
mean, so many people talked about it being their bisexual awakening.
Oh my gosh,
And
though,
I
right?
like little side tangent, but I always thought it was because of Johnny Depp and Keira Knightley. But it was Orlando Bloom all along.
Oh, no, for me, Orlando Bloom is like okay, but I was never attracted to him. I was always into Johnny Depp.
Oh, okay. Thank you, friends.
Yeah.
You're in my court. Come on over here.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Ooh, Orlando Bloom," but like not really.
Yeah, like sure, I guess, but yeah, and also like I'm ace, so for me it's just I just appreciate them, and I just don't. I'm not like, oh shit, they're so attractive.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're really into like their personality. Like you
Tia
just like,
Dalma though, woohoo,
"Oh, yes. Oh, yes."
she be fine, dude. Yeah,
Oh
okay.
man.
Anyway,
You're like, "Let's calm down here."
it's really fun to now read up on pirates, like pirates in general, because Jack Sparrow is actually inspired by Jack Rackham, which I think is a very fun fact.
Oh, I love that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, here we go.
You're like, "Let me spit some facts for you."
Jack is very flamboyant, kind of, right?
Yeah.
And he is very funky and all that stuff. And Jack Rackham was too, and he was very into like funky clothes. He really loved wearing shit that had calico fabric, and that's also where his name came from. Calico Jack Rackham.
Yeah.
That was his nickname. That's where that came from. But he is mostly known to be the captain of a ship that housed two female pirates.
Oh, whoa.
Those are Mary Reed and Bonnie. I think you would know those names.
Yeah. I didn't know that though. That's awesome.
Well, see, like I think those things are comic sans, those facts. But then I just keep being surprised that people don't know as much about pirates as I do.
That's because, babes, it's because it's your special interest. And so, like, you remember these things. That makes sense.
Yeah, but it's so funny. I wonder if everyone has that with their special interest. They're like, oh, this everyone knows this. It's not logical for me to talk about this because everyone knows it already.
I can tell you right now, no. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and one other thing about Jack Rackham, he was hanged, and then for a couple of years he was. At this moment, I don't know the name for it, but he was hanged on display at the beginning of a bay. like
Yeah,
to
as
ward
like a
off,
warning.
as a warning to
Yeah.
other pirates, but as a welcome to the normal village people.
I think that's so weird that back in the day they were just like, "Here's some dead people, so be
Yes,
warned." But
ye be
also
warned.
but also, if you're cool, just don't just ignore it. It's
Yes,
fine.
exactly. But I think it's so ironic that that was the fate of Jack Rackham, and Jack Sparrow actually avoids the news
Yeah.
a couple of times in the movie. And in the beginning of the movie, you see him saluting to some skeletons, right, who are hanging
Yeah.
there. And
Yeah.
I think it's so fun because he's sort of saluting to his predecessor, sort of the one
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
inspired by.
Yeah, I think that's so cute. Little, like, details like that matter, right? And it makes
Yes.
a movie or a production, like, so much more, like, full.
Well, I don't. It's probably not on purpose because there's so many pirates who are hanged, but I just like to think that it's that way, you know?
I also think it's, like, it's one of those things that's happenstance. Imagine he just walked by them. It would make that scene less interesting, right? But he, like, salutes, so it's just, like, it's fun, and also
Yeah.
it makes you think, like, "Oh."
Yeah, exactly. To keep on the movie a little bit, what I think is very like kudos to the actors that in the first movie there's not a real Black Pearl. They just had a little bit made and the rest was fake. So they had to be really cramped and they had to work around these things and stuff. So for the second and third movie, because that was already going to happen, they were like, okay, let's make a real ship. And they built it around an old ship called the Sunset, I think,
What?
or
That's so
Sunrise.
cool.
Yeah, so there's this old ship underneath it, and they built the Black Pearl around it, so it could actually sail too.
Oh my
Or not
gosh.
sail, but it could move in the water. Not very fast, but it could.
That's
And
so cool.
yes, I thought so too. And only the masts were added later on, so the whole ship minus the masts were real in the second and the third movie, and so on, probably.
I love that so much.
There's already like 6 movies of Pirates of the Caribbean, which is a
I
lot.
don't
Oh no, five, five.
I was gonna say,
Sorry.
I don't even know if I've seen all of them, like, Andrew and I meant to, like, watch all of them, and then we forgot. So, yeah, so you would say that's kind of like the movies, like, sparked your interest.
Yes.
At what point did you realize that your special interest wasn't, like, a normal interest?
Well, last year I learned about special interest in a lot deeper way, or the year before. I don't know. When I learned about autism a lot better, then I learned that special interests were a thing, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I might have it. I didn't feel about pirates a normal amount, and I was like, okay, so this is a special interest. I also sort of collected corsets back in the day, and I think that's
Ooh,
also came from the pirates because I loved sort of dressing up in a sort of like an
Victorian sort of era,
kind of, yeah.
but, like, more piratey?
Yeah, it was always in the background, and I used to have a laptop. I had one wallpaper throughout like 5 years of me having that laptop, and it was a picture of the Black Pearl on fire.
Oh my gosh, I love how it all kinda adds up, right?
Yeah, well,
Like
you think back and you're like, well, this makes sense now, and this makes sense, and this makes sense.
it's like something that just speaks to your heart and then it just stays there. I feel like that's like a special interest is like when it's like
Yes.
you don't even realize how much you're consumed by it.
Yeah, and for me, it kind of comes and goes. Like now, I love talking about it, but I'm not really into my pirate bubble, you know? I had that 3 weeks ago
Yeah.
where I was thinking about it nonstop. I could not think about
I
anything else.
do you think it has to do with the fact that you were reading that series that I started, The
No,
Escape?
that was because of it. I looked for pirate books.
I love it.
I have a Tumblr as well, which I will link in the description of this episode. So, the most sort of ironic and funny thing is that Blackbeard, the most famous pirate out there, he only sailed the Black Flag for 2 years.
What?
Which,
So
like,
he was only out there for 2 years and he's the most famous?
yes, well, he did sail before. I don't remember at this minute if it was privateer or if he was a sailor, But yes, he only was a pirate for 2 years.
Wow.
In that time, he reverted back. I don't know if it's the privateer thing. It was this pardon from the king.
Okay.
And so he was like, all right, let me take you up on it. But then he reverted back to piratism.
That would be me as a pirate. Yeah, no worries. Like, I won't do it ever again. I promise. And then as soon as I'm out, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go back to
Never
it.
mind. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's really fun because I think that our Flag Means Death will also go that way because he is now at the point where he went to the pardon of the king, you know?
Yeah.
So I really love that Our Flag Means Death is pirates. That's also why it's one of my favorite series. And I really love how it's based on these pirates that really existed, but that it's very, very loosely based on them.
Yeah. Like, they take a lot of like liberties with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's very fun to read up on it and to see that there's so many things also happened in real life. Like I was casually reading the Wikipedia page of the Queen Anne's Revenge, as one does. And
You're just like casually. Just by the way, I was reading this Wikipedia page. Like, okay, bitch.
I saw that Blackbeard ditched the crew and sort of left them on this tiny island and sailed away with the Revenge after the Queen Anne's Revenge was banked. And I was like, okay, this is so funny because that actually also they did that in the show as well.
Yeah.
And it's just really fun. Also, reading about how the Queen Anne's Revenge is banked is so funny because they sort of like stranded on this, I don't know, I guess it's called a bank, right,
Yeah.
if it's shallow waters.
Yeah, it's a
And they
bank.
got yeah, and it got stuck in there. Blackbeard had a fleet of 3 ships called the Revenge, Queen Anne's Revenge, don't mix those two up, and and Adventure. So those were the 3 ships, and Izzy Hans was sort of a captain of Adventure, if I'm correct.
I love that you're
I
like,
just keep fact checking in my head. I'm like, "Ah, do I just say this right?"
no, I'm sure you're fine. I'm like really enjoying. I'm like, please tell me more.
Okay, I will.
You're like, shut your face. I was gonna tell it anyways.
Yes.
Stop interrupting me.
Shh, shh. The Queen Anne's Revenge banked, and they were like, "Oh shit, we gotta get this out." So they had these ropes around the other ships, and they tried to sort of pull it out back into the sea, but the masts were breaking, and
Hmm.
so they were like, "Oh shit, we can't do this without more damage." And so they just sort of ditched the Queen Anne's Revenge. They were like, "Peace, we'll find something else." So they ditched with the other 2 ships.
Oh.
And that's at the point as well where they left crew because they were like, "Oh, we don't need you anymore."
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I guess that ship just stayed there and then eventually sank because it is a wreck at North Carolina.
Oh
Like at
whoa.
the in the Sea of North Carolina, it's a wreck. The equivalent of diving, they have dug out a lot of shit and they have a lot of
Like memorabilia and stuff.
yeah, a lot of cannons
Oh,
and a lot of
canon.
other shit that was in the ship. The Queen Anne's Revenge had around 30 cannons, I think, which
Whoa.
is kind of a lot.
Yeah.
Pirates also generally kind of altered the ships to make more room for cannons.
Yeah.
So they had more of an upper hand, and they would also generally be bigger than a normal crew. So it would be just easier to sort of loot other ships and stuff.
I'm wondering like if that ship had 30 cannons, how many cannons did the other ships have? Because 30 cannons, that sounds like a lot. That sounds like you could fuck up someone else's ship like
Yeah,
really
well,
easily.
that was the whole thing about pirates.
You're like, that's the point.
And I'm so envious of people who live in North Carolina because they can just visit the museum
I was
where
literally
so
thinking
many.
that. I was like, oh
Yes.
man, I would love to like visit there and just see.
Yeah. They've also recovered pages from books and stuff in the cannons. So, like, what's the story there?
Yeah.
And I think I read about it, but I forgot, which sucks. But
A few moments later.
welcome back. while you were away, I looked up some of the facts of the ship.
Okay.
What I also forgot to mention was that the stranded crew got picked up by Steve Bonnet, so
Oh,
I,
okay. So that's probably what's gonna happen in the show too. Just by the way.
yeah, that was highly hinted at as well. Spoilers. But we're covering that show, so look on our page and you'll find episodes about it.
Please.
So, some facts about Queen Anne's Revenge. It was discovered in November 21, 1996, and it lies 8.5 meters in the water, 28 feet, and about 1 mile, 1.6 kilometer offshore of some park in North Carolina.
Oh whoa.
I was right. 30 cannons have been identified, and 24 of the 30 have been excavated.
Oh whoa. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it also state that it is actually more than normally, so I will just read it to you. Among evidence to support this theory is that the cannons were found loaded. In addition, there were more cannons than would be expected for a ship in this size, and the cannons were of different makes. So
Oh
I
wow.
suppose that the
They
cannons
looted.
weren't all the same.
Yeah, they
They looted
looted
cannons.
some cannons from other ships. They were like, "Oh shit, this is the best. Let's take it on
Like under their arm, they're just like,
Yeah." I wonder. No, but I really do wonder, like, how fucking heavy those cannons are, and how many men it took to like. And then how did they get it from one ship to the other? Because you always see them like on ropes, you know?
You can push ships together and
Okay.
have planks in between them.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, it's probably some hoisting, but not with ropes and stuff.
Oh, okay. So I have a question.
Okay.
I do want you to tell us more about facts and stuff, but after this, do you want to talk about who your favorite pirates are and like if there's like a favorite pirate story you have?
Okay. Well, if you could probably guess, Jack Rackham and Blackbeard are my favorite pirates
Yeah.
to read up on.
Yeah.
Which were actually the only ones that I talked about. And I guess it's just because they are both very well documented.
Yeah.
I will say that we don't know if it's all facts, especially with
Right.
Blackbeard because he's so how do you say that?
He's like highly talked about and like he was like one of those.
He's sensationalized. That's the thing.
Yeah. I think it's like also in the show that we're covering, like you see that in the beginning when they're like describing Blackbeard and he's
With
literally
the
like
matches.
and he just has like a smoke face.
Yes, the smoke face because he's said to have these long matches in his beard, which created the smoke. That is why in the show he has a smoky face.
He wore matches in his hair?
In his beard,
Oh, what?
you make me second guess. Maybe it was underneath his head. He had long matches lit to appear more frightful in combat.
I think that that's fucking awesome. And
It's very
I
metal,
need to
isn't
look.
it?
It's so fucking metal. It's like incense. You know what I mean? Like you just put a bunch of
Yes,
and it's like smoky.
but just smoke. Yeah.
I don't know. That's so cool. I had no idea. I was just like, oh, they just think he's really badass
No.
and his beard. I love that there's like an actual story. See, this is why we need you to talk about pirates because I had no fucking clue. I was just like, that's weird. Why does he have a smoky? And you're like, actually.
Yeah, it's so funny that like there's so much that I took from all the legends. Do you know what the most ironic thing is about me loving pirates?
What?
I'm actually terrified of the sea. Like open waters and stuff, and I also
I
love
think most people are.
yeah, I guess, but there's people who want to be divers and stuff.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I love mermaids too, and I'm just like, uh.
Yeah, but the idea of just being in like open, like black water is so scary. And also, you think about like the like things like the kraken
The
or
kraken.
the kraken.
Well, there's so many big fish in the sea, and there's just so much that has not been discovered, which is crazy. And I also don't really care to be in boats, which is one other thing. Like, I don't really care for having many air in my hair. How do you say that? Um,
Oh, wind, like the
yes,
wind
thank
whipping.
you. I don't
Yeah,
like wind in my hair, but I guess that's my autism, so I don't like that either. And sailboats, I hate those things. I really don't like how they look. I just love like the old ships, the pirate ships.
yeah. I was thinking like when we or if we ever get to like meet in person, how cool it would be to do like a ship tour, like do like
Yes.
a real ship tour. Like I've always wanted to go to a castle, so I feel like we should do a ship.
Yeah.
and then a castle.
Yes.
And
Wait, have you never been to an actual castle?
no.
Oh shit! Not even here in the Netherlands, where it's crawling with
Castles. No.
castles.
No. No. I lived in Drenthe, remember? Like, that's not like the best
Oh yeah.
place.
Oh, Hunebedden dan.
Hunebedden? What?
Hunebedden.
No.
Those are the graves. You have a bunch of stones that they have, and it's a grave.
Oh no, I didn't
It's
know
a whole
that.
thing in Drenthe. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that though.
Oh, okay. And
Now I know.
also, castles is kind of a segue to my childhood spin, but we have to save that for another day because we also want to do an episode about our childhood spins in it.
Yeah, in it.
Yeah.
Aw.
So yeah, I also have other special interests, but they're not as prevalent as pirates are.
I love that we both have like so many different things that we like are just obsessed with.
How do you like stuff normally? How do
I
you do
know.
that in a normal amount?
I don't know. Like, who does that? Like, who just goes, "Oh, that's cool," and then they put it down?
How can you not think about it 24/7 and
Yeah.
have your mind fully consumed about it and not being able to think about anything else?
Yeah, exactly. That's me. I feel that.
That's me for real. Oh, by the way, talking about it still, how do you like that book, Escape the Sea?
I think I got 3 pages in. It's really interesting, but I like this is the thing. I've had like no time. I've been working on my book every night, so I need to just sit down and read, but like I keep getting those moments where I'm like, "Oh, I just suck."
Do you have that guilt again where you're like, oh, I can't write in this time?
Yeah, exactly. And then I want to read. I have like 3 books that I'm trying to juggle right now, and I'm like, "Oh, I just need to like sit down and read fucking one and get through it." So
Yeah.
Escape the Sea is definitely the first one on my list right now.
Okay, I'm currently reading A Little Spark. Is it called A Little Spark? Shit, now I don't know.
Yeah, it's called A Little Spark. I'm pretty sure.
A Kind of Spark
A
by
Kind
Ellen Nicole. Yes, we were close. We were very close. You need to read that book too. It's so good, and it's about an autistic girl, and it's about witches.
Oh, I love that. I love it.
You love witches, right? So
Yes.
you need to read it, and then we can do an episode about it, perhaps.
Oh, yes. I would love that. We haven't done like a book episode in a while.
Yeah, sorry guys that we haven't.
We will.
If you were here for that.
We will though.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to my ramble.
No, it was not rambling. No, it was not. I loved listening to it. I feel like I learned so much about pirates. All very cool facts too. Like they're just so interesting.
Yes, and I love that you think so too, and I will gladly talk your ear off about more facts in the line.
Yeah, like I said, we should just have another like full-on episode of just pirate facts.
Okay, I'm down.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Oh, why, thank you so much. I really appreciated being here and having been asked to be on this podcast.
Of
I
course.
really enjoyed it.
We're so honored to have you.
And I'm very, very honored to be here. Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening in. We hope you have a good one.
Have a good night. And don't let the pirates give you nightmares.
Don't let the Kraken come into your dreams.
Don't let the Kraken kill ya. Bye.
Bye.